Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honour. The reason behind the contradiction of Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. I don't like any of those options, honestly. I believe we're looking at this the wrong way. It was actually the doctor's mistake.
What?
Yes, the doctor got the wrong ear.
Well, I believe we saw an autopsy report yesterday that stated the victim's left eardrum was ruptured and had medicine in it. I'm beginning to wonder if it's not your eardrum that's ruptured, Mr. Wright.
There's no time to be playing with people's perceptions, Nick. I knew that couldn't be right. Sorry, Your Honour. I was the one who made a mistake.
I'll give you one more chance, Mr. Wright. Think carefully before you answer this time.
Yes, Your Honour. Clearly, Mr. Kudo made a mistake.
Mr. Trite, you're the one who brought up all these contradictions.
And
If you're trying to tell us the old man just made a mistake, we can wrap this case up right now with a guilty verdict. How about it, Mr. Wright? Should I declare your client guilty?
is that the best you can come up with, Nick? Sorry, Your Honour. I was the one who made a mistake. Okay. This case is riddled with contradictions, yet there's one very simple answer that clears them all up.
And what's that?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events.
What?
Yes, the victim Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. L.
What?
Unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. How are you supposed to prove that, Phoenix? What the fuck?
Order! Order in the court! Settle down and I'll clear the courtroom!
Quiet, Grams, why don't you clear out of here, huh?
What did you say?
Trite,
Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup?
yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elk and acted out the whole coffee poisoning, all for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that?
Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was... The serving girl bought the Giovacchino, but she put something in it. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair.
It's so hard to believe, but...
There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Are you insinuating the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true there were no other real customers in the restaurant at the time, but it's also true the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct?
Oh, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You're under oath after all. Was there in fact a phony at Tribulations that day? The defence demands Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened.
The defence request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day.
Oui. The victim is your elf. He came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man alive known after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, my Ed became very excited. Approximately 5 minutes later, the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for the phony to do their acting.
Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all?
John, oh, forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted the mess to be cleared up quickly.
What you just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I'll decide how to punish you later.
Oui.
For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please.
He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after the cross-examination. Was he alone at his table as well? Oui. I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table.
Unfortunately for you, Trite, yesterday's witness also testified the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite.
What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. Love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give it that. Worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome any time. I said worth one sip and nothing more. So Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask you about the arrival in more detail. You're saying that not much time elapsed between the victim and Mr. Kudo's arrival? Oui, that's correct. There still is the possibility something happened in the gap of time. By your recollection, how much time would you say elapsed? Oh, let me see. Approximately 2 minutes, I'd say. 2 minutes, that's all.
Seems unlikely anything untoward could have happened in such a short time.
Rats, I knew I shouldn't have pursued this line of questioning. Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? No, I cannot remember, monsieur.
I believe we were told by a witness yesterday.
Crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a scary old man, sir.
Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10, no? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your helping jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful.
I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony.
Oui, Monsieur Judge, everything I do it for you.
Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person's in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. You're absolutely sure about the time? When I think really hard, I'm sure it was just after dark. It's the time I stopped serving the lunch menu. Quite right. I always break for lunch when restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up a cake early just to make it on time. I guess you should never get between a hungry judge and his lunch. Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already. Witness, get on with your testimony, please. So your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim? How many times do you need to ask the same thing, trite? You never catch me drinking the same blend twice. You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant, but you're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed to make coffee if you catch my drift. But there's a hole in this testimony somewhere, I'm sure of it. Did you see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, "Yes, $500,000! Presumably the defendant heard that too then, correct? Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dog. And what about Mr. Kudo? The old man jotted some birdseed lost stuck in his throat. Seems we now have another incident on our hands. And what were you doing at that point? I don't know if that hour doubt is enough. Okay. Without any customers, you must have had some time to kill. I meant multi-talented woman, monsieur. Sorry, what do you mean? Says Neff Armstrong and a tragic poet, Clarice Armstrong. Clarice? Oui, I was writing a poem, an angry tale of a chef and $500,000 in debt. Cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It's called Pourquoi. It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for the court. Please don't. You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred? I asked the old man to call from the payphone. By your own argument, trite. The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so the old man would see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, the opportunity would completely disappear. Indeed. Yeah, seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted in the bar. I guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to the case, huh? Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elg, and I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time, after all. But you're right, wouldn't May have noticed too? She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember? You mean that's when the phony stages act? We'll know for sure once I find a hole in his testimony. So it's definitely to do with the radio show start time. I'm afraid I've finally got you, Mr. Armstrong.
What? What do you mean?
At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of $500,000 lottery ticket.
Oui, that was the show Mr. Egg was listening to.
I can't see a problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct?
Oui, I'm sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was the time because I just finished serving the lunch menu.
Get to the point, Trite, if you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30, and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now, supposedly the victim made some noise when it announced he has won, and yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 o'clock, because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that time.
No!
This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There is only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. The victim was an imposter acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tribulations that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, has been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elg acted out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. If that wasn't the case, how can you explain the discrepancy? Quite a performance, Trite. You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this, Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony elk is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain, then, where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at the time, the real Glen Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion. Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say. What? Now I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, where'd the killer hide the body of the real victim? The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure here all of a sudden? I thought I had him with that contradiction. He just turned it around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defence's theory and evidence. Where was the body of the real Mr. Elk concealed? Inside? It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribulations. Interesting. Where could a body have been hidden in a restaurant? Perhaps you can show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honour. Kitchen, surely.
Take that!
The body was hidden here.
I see.
Nice supposition.
But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location?
Oh!
Take that!
Too bad. I don't think you'll ever grasp the real heart of rock and roll.
What are you talking about?
He means your evidence is irrelevant, Mr. Wright.
Come on, Nick, you gotta think it through. Feel the beat and hit him with the heavy metal. Okay, I need to calm down and get my facts straight. Start over. I think I need to clear my head.
I'd say it's already empty, Trite. I'm inclined to agree.
Oh, damn, yeah. What's with the Spanish all of a sudden? Outside Trabian. Clearly there's no place to hide a body inside Trabian. Therefore the killer must have hauled the body outside.
I see. Nice supposition, but the real question is, can you back it up?
Take that!
What? Well, what the fuck then? Okay. Let's try it this way, shall we? Inside Trabian.
Take that!
At the table.
Take that!
Why else would the photo exist? Oh, fuck off. No, I'm afraid I'm going to have to look this one up, I'm afraid, fellas. I was so close, but way off the mark with the actual proof.
Take that!
The proof is the medicine was found in there.
Take that!
Mr. Armstrong, do you recognise this bottle?
No, I've never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me.
Where was the bottle found, Mr. Wright?
Interestingly enough, Your Honour, it was found in the kitchen of Trabian.
Huh? Quoi? I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils.
But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. It contains a medication.
What kind of medication?
I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? Mr. Elg visited an ear clinic and was given medication that day.
You can't be serious.
The defence had the contents of the bottle analysed and the lab results here. The contents of the bottle matched the prescription given to Mr. Elg. Glenn Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Mon Dieu!
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client Maggie Bird, however. You were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
No!
Order! Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elg?
Oh, never! I could never do such an horrible thing.
No! Mr. Godo! Oh, the bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules.
Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now?
Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavour for your ear? My age-deficit friend.
Je fondement de pardon, please, you must hear me out. It is the trap. Listen to me, por favor.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong. Por favor is Spanish. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it?
No, 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 absolutely no.
Let's hear it. You've got one shot, right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godo's coffee mug awaits you. And so does my gavel.
Oui, it is clear.
Well, they always say in movies, I got a bad feeling about this.
Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it, I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason I could not refuse. But I did not kill him, I swear it, you must believe me.
You were forced? By who?
I cannot say or I'd be erased.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elg died, was he the only person at his table?
There was. There was another man.
I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I've got to break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer.
Hold it!
Did you carry the body yourself?
Oui, I carried him. And I carried Maggie too.
Maggie too?
When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there.
But why did you hide the bodies?
Hold it!
What man? Who was he?
No, I cannot say. I fear for my life.
He's really scared. You just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him.
But why would you go along with this man?
I had to go along with him. There was a reason I could not refuse.
And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong?
You know, monsieur.
Yes?
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment.
A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. I'll just have to prove it with evidence. So you're claiming all you did was hide the bodies, this is correct?
Oui, that's right.
If we're to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear the identity of the man who wanted you to do this.
He's already confessed this much, you might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. Suck it to him, Nick! That's not a bad idea.
Objection!
You have $500,000 in debt, don't you?
$500,000? Is that true, Mr. Armstrong?
Oui, c'est sûr. I was weak and I borrowed the money.
This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man.
Take that!
$500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you to do.
Oui, it is as you say.
Mr. Armstrong.
La Tigre. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that I repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I'd seen.
I think we can now safely say the man who forced your hand was Mr. Tigre.
I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and lottery ticket found in the defendant's apron pockets? Was that your doing as well?
None. I knew nothing about that. Make it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. Is this Dick Bell?
Mr. Godo! You will summon this Tigre as a witness. I doubt it can be arranged today, so I will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow.
"30 minutes.
What?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more."
How the...
Don't sit back and relax yet, trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way.
Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godo. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess.